will discuss the fourth part of our chapter, The Third Level by Jack Finney. In our previous parts, and that is part 1 and part 2, we have the detailed explanation of the text. In part 3 of the video, we have seen the thematic summary, the gist, certain vocabulary words, etc. And in this video, that is part 4, we shall critically analyze the text. Okay. So the story. This is a study of science fiction. This is a study of science fiction and psychological fantasy. Precedence of the new. This is the first. These are the first lines. Okay. So you can see the architectural layout. This is an AI generated one. It might not be exactly the one which is there. Okay, so this is the first level, this is the second level, and somehow he discovers a third level. So the real question is third level a physical space or a psychological space? All right. Jack Finney is known for his for blending science fiction, time travel, realistic psychological escapism. What is the modern context? This story reflects the post-war anxiety. Post-war anxiety, that is, the modern world is characterized by insecurity, fear, worry, and all sorts of things, right? So this is very important. This is why Charlie, the protagonist, wants to escape. So if you see, sorry, yes, he Charlie goes to his psychiatrist friend who dismisses his finding or his discovery of the third level as a waking dream wish fulfillment, right? He says that even your stamp collection, that is philately, that hobby, is also a coping mechanism. It is a temporary refuge from reality. All right, but how does Charlie argue? Charlie argues by saying that his grandfather also collected stamps during peaceful times, suggested that the human desire for a hobby is not necessarily always driven by trauma. Okay, he questions that what kind of anxiety did President Roosevelt or my grandfather had, since both of them used to collect stamps. He was trying to go to his wife Louisa. He gets almost lost in the central station. Okay, who is growing roots, growing like a tree, pushing out new corridors and staircases like roots. Transition. There was an arched doorway. He walks down a slanting downward. Walks down a slanting downward echoing corridor unless he hears a hollow roar of open space. And what does he discover here? He discovers the third level. How was the atmosphere? It was a bit dark. There were gas lights, there were brass spittoons, there were wooden ticket windows. The technology was the funnel shaped engines. Okay, the costume, the fashion style belonged to the olden times. Derby hat, four button suits, handlebar mustaches, leg of mutton sleeves, and most importantly, the newspaper which confirmed his suspicion that he is indeed in the third level. He is indeed in the year 1894, because the newspaper featured the stories of President Cleveland, and the date was 11 June 1894. So he wanted to buy two tickets to Galesburg, Illinois, a town of big old frame houses, huge lawns, tremendous trees. But what is the clash? The clash was he does not have the older currency bills. Right. Fearing an 1894 jail, Charlie goes away from there. He later buys $200 of old style currency at a premium, but to his surprise, he could not find the corridor only which led him to the third level. He discovers a first day cover. Hidden in the grandfather's stamp collection, he finds a first day cover marked as 18 July 1894. Right, just 1 month later. The sender later, 1 month later means 11 June 1894 was the date of the newspaper, and this is just 1 month 7 days later. Who was the sender? Sender was Sam Weiner, the skeptical psychiatrist. So this is the same friend who refuted the existence of the third level. And what was the message? What was the content? That Sam is living in Galesburg, listening to piano music and drinking lemonade. He urges Charlie and Louisa to keep looking till they find the third level. All right. Charlie is a 31-year-old person who wears a tan gabardine suit, a straw hat, an entirely ordinary man. He is imaginative, sensitive, deeply nostalgic, and determined. He represents the vulnerable, very important for your exam. Okay, please use these words and these languages to fetch good marks. Okay, he represents the vulnerability of the modern everyday man. His character highlights the universal human instinct to seek emotional security when faced with overwhelming contemporary pressure. I just wanted to go get home to Louisa. Who is Louisa? She is realistic, grounded, practical. She accepts reality as it is and becomes deeply worried about Charlie's claims, acting as the story's anchor to the present. Okay, so Louisa is the character who, from the beginning until to almost the end of the chapter, she had been the practical person who is holding the reality. She has been the reality check. However, who was Sam Weiner? Sam Weiner was the skeptic turned believer. First, he was skeptical. Okay, he did not believe. But later, he turned to be a believer. A logical psychiatrist who initially diagnoses the third level as a mere hallucination. Ironically, he is the one who successfully time travels to 1894 to start an agricultural business. Modern world. The story frames escapism not just as an active fantasy but as a subconscious psychological necessity. The third level the third level acts as a protective mechanism, okay, coping mechanism for the mind, a place where the intersecting of time and space provide a haven for relentless anxiety. So it is a necessity. An escape route is a necessity to sustain the war stricken times. Okay, reality versus imagination. The text deliberately blurs the boundaries, which is reality and which is imagination. Sam's physical letter from 1894 makes it impossible to clearly separate hallucination from science fiction. Okay? Longing for the past, the nostalgia, 1894 is idealized. It represents a simpler, slower time 20 years before World War I and 40 years before World War II. How is the intersection of time and space given here? Grand Central Station serves as a liminal space where chronological eras overlap physically and psychologically. Okay, so there is an overlap of physical space and the psychological space. There are many literary devices in this chapter. However, literary devices are more important from the poetry. Okay. Literal meaning, a hidden physical railway platform buried deep under Grand Central Station leading to the 19th century. Metaphorical meaning, it is a psychological escape route. It is the human mind's ultimate destination when seeking to step off the fast-paced track of modern life and retreat to an era of safety and simplicity. Apparent illogicality is sometimes a futuristic projection of human psychology. Escapism is a natural response to fear, and imagination often offers genuine comfort when reality is overwhelming. So, when Charlie was overwhelmed by the brutal reality, who comes to rescue his psychological pressure? It is the imagination. So the third level reminds us that while we must balance fantasy with reality. It is our dreams, hobbies, and nostalgia that keeps us resilient. Hence, his objective, Charlie's objective, to find the third level keeps him means he is resilient. He is not surrendering at the failures of finding the third level. He keeps on finding the third level because that gives him a motive to live his life amid this uh, complete chaotic world of the post-war times. All right, I hope the story is now clear to all of you. Please go through all the parts, read your text, attend the classes properly, take down your notes, follow the instructions, and if any doubt or anything you want to discuss further, please reach out to me. Thank you, students. Have a good day.